This video is intended for viewers aged 13 and up. If you are not 13 yet, please leave. Hello, yes, you're the, E1 Hasbro and Paramount executives, hi. It's me, Dinobot. I'm here to audition for the Rise of the Beasts film. I mean, it is a Beast Wars film, and I am the best part of that series, so I thought I would be automatically brought in, but I guess I had to go through auditions, which is annoying. Sure, we're not sure if we want to have Dinobot in this adaptation. What? For a couple reasons. This film's already packed. It's a G1 Beast Wars team-up film. And, we got like 3 factions already. Maybe even 5. That's a lot of characters to be juggling around. And I mean, your name might be a bit confusing for general audiences. What? Confusing for general audiences? What isn't there to be confused by? Dinobot. I'm a dinosaur robot. Well, that's also the name of one of the most famous Autobot teams that are out there. Yeah, like me, Grimlock. So what? I might not be in this movie because they might think I'm this bumbling oaf over here? Yes. Give me a sec. Let me talk to my manager real quick. Primal? I'm here at the audition. They might not let me back in. They passed on me, too. What, they passed on the leader? It sucks. I think they're replacing me with Ron Perlman again? What, that idiot who tried to betray you in that shittily animated short series? It sucks, dude. What if I threaten their lives to get us a part in the film? What? No, don't do that. That's not what Maximals do. Just, if you don't get in, just take it in stride. Alright, I'm taking the threatening their lives approach. No, Dinobot, wait! Hello everybody, my name is Kanohii, and welcome to the final video of Beast Week. And today we're looking at something that I legit just got in the mail days ago. It was a surprise that it came here as soon as it did, but it really solidified that we were doing Beast Week this week. So today we are looking at the new interpretation of a fan favorite character. This is Kingdom Voyager class Dinobot. No, not the G1 ones, the Dinobot. It's Dinobot. Ugh. And starting off in his dinosaur mode, I have to say, as a dinosaur, he looks pretty dang good. He doesn't look perfect. Now, don't get me wrong. He doesn't look as good as Megatron from Wednesday, if these are coming out on time. But I think he looks pretty good. His painting is super clean. I think the printing looks very good. It's got a very nice design. And overall, I think the sculpting is done very well. Apparently they used, like, third-party sculptors to... Not like third-party Transformer sculptors, but, like, people who sculpt dinosaur and animal toys to do the sculpting for these guys. And it shows, because the sculpting on here is extremely lifelike, but extremely well done. But yeah, let's get a little bit closer. This Velociraptor head is honestly one of the goofier animal heads, partially because he does have pupils compared to some of the other characters. However, it does make him look a lot more like his show model. I think it's a very well done head. Of course, he doesn't have teeth at the front, but I'm pretty sure that's like a safety hazard thing. But yeah, the printing is super clean. The sculpting of like the scales feels freaking great and looks great too. Yeah? And yeah, the teeth are also nice and cleanly painted on mine. And yeah, it just looks great. The eyes are a bit goofy, but it does look like Dinobot from the show. One complaint that I do have, this is a bit with the articulation, I feel like the jaw hinges on mine are way too tight. That was an effort to open up. And you can see inside his mouth. He does have a red tongue, which I think is a nice detail. Could you please focus? Could you focus? Thank you. But yeah, it's a nice red tongue, but it's this lower jaw is way too freaking tight, all things considered. Like, but I'm gonna leave it slightly open so I can actually open it later on, you know? Moving on to the rest of the body, let me just scroll down. You know, these are quick reviews. It looks okay, but there is a lot more kibble than on some other figures. If we look at the front, you can obviously see the front of his legs. I think it's well engineered, but it's a bit annoying. And if we look at the back of his thighs, it's got a face on it. That's because of the dinosaur or Dinobot face or whatever. Yeah, it looks okay. Like, from some angles, it looks better than others. Like, obviously, like, you aren't looking this way, because, like, look, it's got feet, it's got back. But, like, from the front, it looks alright. I think these are a bit annoying. I think it does throw off the sculpt a bit, but it could be better. The arms, they oddly enough have more articulation than the leader class, but these look ugly. I think it's mainly because the hands are kind of just constantly pointing down. That's something a lot of people have mentioned. I do wish it was on more of, like, a joint that could let you go down, but whatever. It's fine. It could be better. Could be worse, though, you know? Yeah. Though, thankfully, the tail is super long. It's got a purple tip, which is a bit annoying, but that's because the sword's there. We'll get to the sword later. But yeah, I like how long the tail is. It feels like, for a Velociraptor, the tail should be this long. You know? Yeah. Overall, I do feel this Velociraptor is a bit chonky, but that honestly kind of makes him one of the most show-accurate figures in Dinobot in the line. From the eye to the chunkiness of the body, like how fat he is, it looks a bit bad, but it also looks a lot like the show model, coincidentally. But yeah, if you want a show-accurate Dinobot, get the Masterpiece. But if you're on a budget, you can get this too. This isn't half bad of a substitute in Dino mode, at least, but why would you be getting it in Dino mode? All the accessories, other than the randomized collector card, which, funny enough, I got a Dinobot card with this one, are attached to the Dino mode, so it's not worth showing them until Robot mode. So as such, we should get into articulation. We're going to start off with the head because it can hinge up and down, but it does close the jaw, which is mainly because of transformation, but it does help. It is pretty tight, though. And as previously mentioned, the jaw can go out, though it hurts and it's tight, so it's not fun to do. The arms, like I said, are more articulated than the dino arms on Megatron. They're able to hinge out like that, you know? They're able to hinge down there, and they have like a ball joint swivel here, which allows it to hinge down and up, though it does look pretty awkward there. The upper thighs are sadly not articulated, but that is to be expected. We can't have a Megatron all the time. But he also has a knee hinge, which allows him to kick forward that far, backward that far. He has a swivel at the ankle, and it can tilt forward and backward, which works pretty well. And the toes can move inward, but again, that's a transformation thing. But it does help with some raptor-y poses. You know, him going like... I'm not going to open the mouth for this. And the tail does not move, sadly. But, that's fine. You know? I kind of feel like ragging on this because of how good the other Dino mode that in this Kingdom line has been, the Megatron. But this is honestly an average dinosaur robot mode. It's not amazing, it's not Megatron, but it's pretty good. And like, as a guy who prefers robot modes, I don't mind too much. The dinosaur mode is fine. But yeah. But overall, I think this Dino mode works pretty well. It's not amazing, but it feels like a basic Dino mode, which just sadly makes it probably one of the worst alternate modes for the Beast Wars cast from Kingdom, which is really unfortunate, because this is really good, but it's not amazing like everyone else has been. It's not his fault that he's so low on the tier list. It's everyone else being better than him. It's not that he's bad, it's that everyone else is really good. But yeah, now we get to a bit of a better mode, in my opinion. We get to look at his robot mode. Oh, we gotta get through the transformation first, baby. Oh yeah, we're gonna start by ripping the tail off. This is parts forming, that's always been there, and it turns into his weapon, so I really don't mind. From there, I like to fold down these arms a little bit, and then move them out of the way. We'll get there later. Then from there, you might want to move these legs out of the way, just make sure they're just out of the way so that you can move onto the legs. You just kind of pull them out of their tabs in a kind of tight fashion for some, depending on how strongly you tab it in. Straighten out the legs and fold in this panel all the way until you hear a click. And then you get to the feet, take this little heel panel, which is very tight, annoyingly, and then you pull it out. It does have 5mm ports, so it can fly like Iron Man, I guess? And then, yeah, that's your straightened out leg, and this is the body. Woohoo! From here, things get a bit weird. Let me heighten up the camera so that you can get up to his chest a bit. There is a dramatic head reveal on this figure. But first we gotta swivel around the body so that this head is on front, and then hinge that head down. I like to, from here, we take the arm bits that we see here, hinge them out like so. That'll eventually form the chest. From there, I do like folding this down, and then folding that bit up. Again, we're saving that for the dramatic head reveal. But normally you would just hinge that down. But again, I like dramatic head reveals. And then from there, you can just hinge, not the arm. Don't hinge the arm. Just hinge the two thigh panels inward so that they form the chest, as you can see. The arms might go down with them a bit, but they should stay out. And then from there, you take the arms, make sure they're folded around, fold it forward like this, and then kind of fit them into place. You'll see how they fit in. It makes sense logically, though. You should probably hinge this bit up forward a bit and then hinge it back down, you know? Yeah. Arms are pretty simple. You're gonna wanna swivel them around so that the shoulder pad's on top, hinge this down, swivel the hand around, and close it up. And then from here, let's do the weapon. Since we're here, you're gonna wanna do the same with this arm. You're gonna wanna open up the tail as it's hinged on two axes. You're gonna, yeah, like this. Hinge it open like there. Hinge it open there. That might pull the sword out of the tab. Pull out the sword, and boom, you got your sword and your shield. You put the sword, you use this tab here, you put it into the 5mm port there. That's the only way it works. I do wish you could kind of put it into the hand in the toy accurate manner. And for this hand, I like to have it slightly open, and then you tab the weapon, the shield, in there. It doesn't spin, but I've seen an adapter to make it spin, you know? Yeah. Yeah. From here, we're gonna take this, hinge that into place, and then hinge that down as our dramatic head reveal. But if you really want to do a nice dramatic head reveal, you swivel it around and then swivel the head into place. And there you go. There we have the Voyager class. Kingdom Dinobot. And yeah, I'd say this robot mode is pretty good. Again, it's not my favorite, but not so much because this is bad, I think it's because others are better. Though this does have a few issues that I will mention. But yeah, overall, I think the painting and the sculpting is amazing. The painting is pretty good. Where the painting is, it's nice and clean, it's nice and done, but there are some areas that I feel personally are missing paint. Who knows, maybe the sculpting took so much of the budget that they couldn't paint it in certain areas, or maybe those areas were just unpaintable by parts. Anyways. But while we're here, let's just go on to minute details. Starting off at the head, I think it's freaking perfect, dude. It's a perfect representation of Dinobot. I've heard it's legit just a masterpiece, just shrunk down. And I feel the head does look a bit big, but I think that is Dinobot, for me at least. That's what Dinobot looks like. I think his head does look a bit big in everything I've seen him in. But yeah, the blue is perfect. I do wish there was a bit more gray lining, but I think it's good. The orangey gold looks really good. The red eyes look perfectly painted. I think that is a separate piece. It's kind of like the back pieces. But yeah, Everything just looks amazing. This little line is the worst part. It is a bit chippy, but I think it looks great. I do wish these vents on the side as well were painted though, but yeah, the head is absolutely freaking stellar. The chest looks pretty good. They did try to integrate the real dinosaur head while also using faux parts to get the more show accurate look, because as many people have pointed out, that transformation in the show is absolute dog butt. But yeah, it works. I do think it could have been done a bit better. My problem is that I think this should have been a bit more round. Maybe this should have tapered in a bit more and just go into the dino head. But yeah, the blue also looks really good. I wish there was more of this blue. Like on the back, I'm going to move to the back here since we're on the body. It's a bit kibbly. It juts out a bit far, but it doesn't look that bad. I do just wish it had a bit of blue on it though. But that would have really detracted from the dino mode. So I get it. But yeah, I think this looks really good. And then the crotch, it kind of feels out of place with how smooth it is, but the gold paint looks great and it's nice and accurate to the show, I guess. Moving on to the arms, this brings in a couple of proportional issues. It's trying to be accurate to like the dinosaur legs, but I feel like they're a bit long. I do wish they kind of came up to here rather than here, but I think it looks fine. It has that nice texturing. It doesn't have much paint, but the texturing does make up for it. It adds like a nice little bit of texture that makes it look really cool. I also like the dino hands. Again, they're the feet, but again, that is accurate. And again, it just does a very good job of having the inward hinges, but also being able to fit some accessories. He's a character who will not be able to hold a lot of your normal 5mm port accessories, but I don't mind that much because the accessories he has are really all you need for him, you know? The legs are my least favorite part, though. I did rag on a bit about proportions there. These feel a bit stubby, but I think that's more so because of the proportions of the arms. My problem is lack of paint. The upper legs have a decent amount of paint, though I think this should be painted, especially since like it's just its own leg, so it doesn't really need to worry about being accurate to the dinosaur. But then the lower legs, these are painted like a tan, and they should be painted like with a bit of gold. These side bits should be more congruent with these side bits, and then this should have a lot more kind of gold painting to kind of break it up. And the back should have a bit more blue, I think. I just think these lower legs are just way too underpainted. I might customize it if I feel like it. I might not, though. And the feet should have more paint, but I think it kind of works because the brown is a nice neutral color. I think it works really well. I think it's just these lower legs, because of this bit here, where it just hard cuts between the two colors. I just think that could have been done better. But it's fine. It's got all the sculpting there, so if you do want to paint it, you have your guides, but it sadly isn't super painted. Adding a bit of like the accurate colors would have just really helped it shine. Maybe they'll do a premium finish in the future. I don't freaking know. Overall, this Dinobot's fine. He does feel like a bit of an older figure compared to literally everyone else here, but that's because all the other Beast Wars characters are like top of their class. This guy sadly isn't top of his class, but he's honestly coasting by the fact that I love freaking Dinobot. He's got a great design overall. I just wish he had a bit more paint. Maybe I'll get a customizer to do it. Maybe I'll customize it myself. Who knows? But I do think the sculpt here is amazing. I just think there's a bit of painting and a bit of proportional issues that could have been fixed to really push this guy past the extra mile. You know? Yeah. Moving on to actual accessories, he has some for once. Starting off, he has his sword, which is purple. This is an issue a lot of people have. For some reason, Takara, they seem to take from the one shot from the big famous Dinobot episode where he dies. Spoilers, by the way. Where he's like in front of the sunset and his sword looks kind of pink and they go really all out. I do think it adds a bit of like interest to him, and it also kind of works, I guess. Some people pointed out that if you plug it into here, it looks like a blast effect. But I do wish it was silver. Or maybe a pinkish silver. I don't know. But here, the purple, I think it's okay. And then the hilt is a nice bronze. I think that works well. And like I said, it plugs in to the hand like so. Then we get the shield. Bit thin. Doesn't spin, sadly, but I think it works. Of course, it's coming off of the more anatomically accurate, though not perfectly anatomically accurate, because if this was trying to be anatomically accurate, it would have feathers. But yeah, I think it's thinner because the tail's trying to be more anatomically accurate, so I think it's okay. And since it's on a 5mm port, you can, in animation, you can have it spin. You know, so it's fine. I don't mind too much. So yeah, his accessories work. They're my favorite part, though. I just like them. I just like that he has his sword and his shield, like he always should. But yeah, going from there, I guess we gotta get on to articulation, which, compared to the other... I'm saying this a lot with the Dinobot review. Compared to the other figures in this line, it's pretty average. Head is on a ball joint. Beware, the ball joint can pop off, but it can go back on. It can do everything a ball joint can. It can look up that far, down that far. It can tilt, so it can have some more inquisitive stances and full swivel. You know, the ball joint works. His arms are bonkers. So his shoulders are segmented into two parts due to the way the transformation works, which allows them to hinge up that far on this hinge, and then use the secondary hinge to go all the way that far. Let me zoom out so you can see that. That's bonkers. It's an insane joint that allows him to really do anything going upward. And it can also do a full 360 spin because it is on a mushroom peg. He also has a bicep swivel, which is greatly appreciated. His elbow is sadly only a single joint, but it is able to go up a decent amount. I do wish it had a bit more, though. His hand is on a swivel, which is great. I didn't see it with the last couple of figures, actually. So it's great to get back to having a nice mushroom peg swivel here. And his hand is also on an inward-outward hinge. I wish it was an upward-downward hinge, because that would both give the Dino feet pivot, or ankle pivot, and give the sword like an accurate swording motion. But here, I guess you just gotta kind of break his arm, because his arm can go inward as well, just due to him being the Dino legs. Moving on to the waist swivel, you know, as per usual. His hips are on universals, which are able to go forward that far. Not super far back, but you can hinge it out to get more backward, and it's able to hinge out like so, you know? He does have a thigh swivel, which, yeah, I pinched myself there. He has a thigh swivel. It works. He has a single bend at the knee, which allows him to go about 90 degrees. His feet hinges are good. They're able to hinge back, and they're able to do an amazing ankle pivot. For some reason, he has the best ankle pivot out of all these Beast Wars characters, you know? So yeah, overall, as a Dinobot figure, he's got pretty good articulation. He's able to do what you want to do. Mostly, I think the only joint that I feel he's really missing is, again, that upwards-downwards hinge at the hand so that he can do the sword forward motion. But overall, I think this figure works. It's a very... I feel like it's the most average figure of this whole... of all these Beast Wars characters. Which kind of makes him the worst-ish? It's either him or Black Arachnia who's in the bottom. But that's of no fault of his own. I still like him as a figure. I do think he's worth your while, but there are other figures that I think are slightly better than him. Or like a good bit better than him. But that's, again, of no real fault of his own. It's more so that just, he's at the bottom of a set of amazing figures. So yeah, if you're a Beast Wars fan, pick him up. Pick really all of them up. They've all been great. Like, the next two do look a bit iffy, but again, we'll see how they feel as figures. But yeah, this is just a great figure. Oh my gosh, stop, Hasbro, Takara. But yeah, I do recommend it. I do like it. If you like this review, if you like all my reviews, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see what happens next time. I might be dealing with jet lag, so there might not be a video next week. But hey, I just gave you like friggin' 5, okay? So chill out. I might write, though, while I'm on travel. So, for a bit, for personal business. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!